mean, you had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, claps all around. Claps all around. Applause for episode 58. It's crazy. 58 episodes of MinneZona Sports Live. It's great. We're having a good time. And, oh, by the way, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from what? By the way, Voldy is out tonight, folks. And this time I am not lying. I am not lying. He's working tonight. He is working tonight. So it's not the best thing. We wish he was here, but again, you got to work, right? So, but all the way from the city of St. Paul, Minnesota, we welcome one of the most loyal Minnezoners, and not only that, our Vikings expert. We welcome back Mikey Ryan. What's going on, Mikey?
Nothing much. How you guys doing tonight? I'm glad to be back. It's going to be an exciting show.
It will be an exciting show, Mikey, and it always is. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And honestly, Shield and I were talking after the show last week, and we're saying, like, we got to get Mikey on again because, draft's coming up, free agency's going on. There's a lot going on here. So,
yeah. I
mean, either way, we would have had you on, so there's that. But
True.
Anyway, I tried to bait the Kerf Doctor in a little bit with this. Hey, Kerf Doctor, O-line, as a joke, and he's loving it. He says, yes. That's what he is. It's all O-line. And, Mikey did play O-line back in college and in high school as well, so
True.
He knows a thing or two about O-line. So we got a lot going on with that. But, Mikey, we have to get to Tater Tot Hot Take. We got three of them tonight, all related to Minnesota sports and whatnot. It's going to be a fun show. We cannot wait. And as Mama Callahan is saying right here, she says, welcome, Mikey.
She's always gracious to me.
She is. I don't know. She probably is probably one of the favorite guests here. But then again, Mikey, you were close to winning that title, but Double Trouble took you over. So.
I am glad. I will very respectably take, I think, what was it, third place? It was either third or fourth.
We're gonna have to look at the poll again, and then we'll
the people above me, they well deserving. But I'm gunning for first this year. I'm gunning for first.
That's true, and we're gonna try to find a way to get you to that point. But it's all up to the zoners. It's all up to the zoners,
True.
As we like to say. So we'll see what happens. All right. So we got a lot to get to for Tater Tot Hot Takes. So let's get it going because it's straight out of the oven and it's hot.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, Mikey, we are starting off Tater Tot Hot Take off with the Minnesota Wild. It says back on track, and it really has been back on track for the Minnesota Wild, luckily. And they're winning right now 3-2. I don't know if anyone has any updates. Please feel free to throw it in the chat. We're getting updates here with my new setup, by the way, with my iPad, my phone now, instead of the big, bulky high school laptop. But it's looking good. We'll be getting updates throughout the show. And if the zoners want to give updates to us as well, feel free. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about here tonight. And with the Wild playing the way that they have, obviously them playing Colorado not too long ago, it didn't go well. A lot of injuries happened, and they had to bring up some guys from Iowa for one, from the Iowa Wild. but they got back on track against Anaheim. And I watched the game last night, Mikey, and there are a lot of things that I liked about the win. But again, they're still pushing for that, for that number one spot. And the Colorado has been one of the best teams in the NHL right now. But, so far, Mikey, we talked about on the show how we thought the Wild would be kind of middle of the road and whatnot, maybe 500, but they've exceeded expectations. So what have your thoughts been on the Wild so far?
I like what they're doing. Like they definitely have exceeded my expectations this year. I thought this was going to be kind of like almost like a rebuilding year, especially with like Kaprizov coming in. Like he's been touted, but he was generally an unknown before he kind of came in. And like everyone was hyping him up, but you never know once you hit NHL ice. And he's been playing exceedingly well. He's been what everyone said he's been. Like he's been really good. And everyone else, like, yes, we've had injuries and we had like a slump earlier in the year, but we've kind of bounced back and everyone's starting to pick it back up again. And we're playing consistent hockey now. And that's what you kind of need. And that's what we'll need going forward. And they just need to keep improving and, hopefully we can make it come playoff time.
I think they will. And I think that they've shown that there's a lot of growth to be had with this team. And they've shown a lot of grit so far. And like you said, Kaprizov's been as advertised. I've said it on this show multiple times. But last night, they showed me they could win a game where they really had to fight to win. And they really did. And Anaheim, they're not a great team and whatnot, but you're going to have those games where it's like you got to earn these goals. You can't just all of a sudden, have a couple lucky, bounces of the puck into the net type of thing. They fought for that one. They had to claw and to win that game against Anaheim. And right now, there's a little bit more scoring. It's 3-2 right now. But they've shown they've proven a lot of people wrong. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Bill Guerin. And I don't know what they're going to do at the NHL trade deadline, but if they do, it's going to be for the betterment of the team and see what they can do here. And if they don't do anything, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. But this team has goaltending that is actually pretty good. You got Kakkonen, who's been fantastic as a rookie, for one. We talk a lot about Kaprizov, but Kakkonen has been great. Talbot has been even greater. They've won 9 straight in the XL Energy Center now. Yeah. It's about to be 10 if they can hold on to this lead right now. And that's what's going to show, hey, you know what? Maybe we're not going to be ready to go here. Like right now, we could be, not saying cup contenders, but we could make a run in the playoffs, and I hope they do. I really hope they do. But we've seen this before. Mikey, let me ask you this. We know that the Wild sometimes they get off to a nice little streak. But sometimes they kind of go downhill a little bit. But then when it comes to playoff time, it just kind of all falls apart. They never switch to that gear of being in playoff mode. And a lot of teams just flip a switch and they're ready to go. There's a lot of these teams. So what can they do to avoid that this time, Mikey? What do you think?
They just gotta, there's a lot of young guns, so the playoffs is kind of like the key thing at this point for them. It's like coming in, they're gonna have no experience, so they just got to play the way they've been playing. They just got to keep getting better, getting consistent. You can get better game to game, especially during the playoffs. You could be terrible one game, you could be great the next. That's kind of like what the playoffs are for. Like they're for like redemption stories like that, and they're also for like rookies to start showing their stardom and all their young guns. And that's once we get into the playoffs, that's what we'll need to do, because that's kind of always the problem with the Wild that I've seen is when we get there, the stars don't shine. And they kind of just disappear and they're like waiting. They're almost like tentative. They're just like, I don't want to lose the game for us. It turns out that's usually how you lose games if you don't be aggressive. Like you can be over aggressive. Yes, you can. But if you're not aggressive in the first place and you're playing tentatively, you're going to lose because you're playing reactively instead of proactively.
I think I couldn't have explained it better myself, and that's what I thought too with these past teams. Now, you have a guy in Kaprizov that could change all that.
Yeah,
I really believe that. They have a great line. I mean, Rask is on that line with Kaprizov. Zuccarello has been fantastic with Kaprizov. And breaking news: the Wild have beat the Anaheim Ducks.
There we go.
2 goals for Jared Spurgeon as well, and they get, again, the claps all around, exactly. So the Wild get the win, 10 straight. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So let's see what happens these next few weeks and make a little bit more of a playoff push. So, but we'll see what happens. We're going to keep in tune with our zoners, and not only that, the people that are watching right now too. So, all right, Mikey, it's time to get to some Vikings talk because last Wednesday, there was breaking news on MinneZona Sports Live. The Minnesota Vikings signed none other than Patrick Peterson. 1 year, $10 million. Mikey, you got to give me your thoughts on this. And do you think Peterson's going to make this big of an impact that people expect?
I think he is. Like this is the veterans. This is like the veteran mentality that the Vikings defensive back core needs. Yes, we have safeties like Harrison Smith back there, which does give a little bit, but you need someone in that cornerback category, the cornerback room, to give the young guns like Dantzler and Hughes and everyone. They need a veteran presence, and Patrick Peterson gives them that. Plus, he's still got some gas left in the tank. I mean, we had Terrence Newman. Man, he was like a 38-year-old man still playing cornerback there. He's still doing great. This is the same role that he has to fill, and I think he fits it perfectly for the Vikings. And that's what we've been missing. Now we can move Hughes down into like the nickel slot, which I think he plays a little better than the outside, and he can just shine there because Patrick Peterson, he's going to be playing outside. He's going to be playing outside. He'll play against the number 1, number 2 receiver, and that's where he's good. And this helps tremendously for the Vikings.
Oh, it does, and not only that, Mikey. He wanted to come here. That's the thing. He called. His agent called Minnesota and said, "Patrick wants to play for you guys. Can we work out a deal?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many players do that? I mean, that's
right?
Crazy. And he believes in this team. And that's the cool part about it. And, a lot of people have been wondering, are we going to move him back to safety? Are we going to put him at corner? No, he's going to be at corner. I mean, the guy had 3 interceptions last year for the Cardinals. Yes, he's probably lost a step or two, okay? And people, he might be washed up. But this is the veteran presence that I was talking about. They needed a guy that knows the game. Patrick Peterson knows the game. He's been a Pro Bowler. He's been an All-Pro. He knows what it takes to be a great player in this league and be a leader, for 1, 2. Mm-hmm. And this is the right place for him. And not only that, Zim's got a guy he can trust, I think. And I think, for 1, you short up the D-line. You finally have a veteran corner, and then you can help these younger guys. You can help Dantzler, like you said, Gladney. In some capacity, Hughes, but I don't know. The Vikings are getting pretty sick of him getting hurt half the time. So there's that too. But there was one thing that he said in his quote. I'm going to read it here. I feel like I still have a good. Peterson said this. I feel like I still have good position as far as being in the position to make plays at the cornerback position, and I would agree with that.
Yep.
So I know I can still play at a high level. He told Chris Thomason of the Pioneer Press. So my position will be cornerback for sure. I 100% agree. I don't think you can just say, Patrick Peterson, we might move you to safety. Not yet. No way. So it's going to be interesting to see with how he deals with the young guys and whatnot. But Mama Callahan's actually chiming in here, / Papa Callahan. Good addition to the secondary. However, Harrison Smith needs a better year. And my dad said this, Papa Callahan has said this for a while now. So, Mikey, let me ask you this. With Patrick Peterson and in the defensive, helping out the young guys and whatnot, are you comfortable with him at the cornerback position?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We need to fill in the void that Anthony Harris has left us now. I know he moved on to, I believe, Miami. But we'll find someone there. Philadelphia. Thank you. Excuse me. I thought it was Miami. But we'll find a position there. Plus, I think Anthony Harris had a down year last year. Like he was not the same as he was in the year before, where he was on a contract year and he played tremendously. And the following year wasn't that great. So we'll need to move on. We moved on from him. We'll find a spot. But I think Patrick Peterson, he's got to play corner because we need someone like him in the cornerback position. Because yes, he might have lost a step or two, but he's gained about 5 or 6 steps in the mental game. And if you know the mental game down pat, if you know the tendencies that some of the wide receivers have in their routes, and been watching film and study their footwork, you could lose a step or two, yes, but you'll be ahead of them because you know where they're going in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna go good for these young guys and whatnot. And we could talk about this all day, but at the same time, this was a great move. For one, and honestly, the Vikings didn't even have to do anything because his agent called us and said,
"Yep."
And so I think Spielman said in the introduction to him, he's like, "I get off the plane from a pro day in Atlanta, and the deal's already done." It's crazy how well that went for the Vikings and for Patrick Peterson. And when you have guys like Thielen, on the other side, Cousins and all this is a good core of guys. So I think this is a great signing, and we'll see what happens. There's more to be had too, and hopefully they can get to the O-line issue, as we've been saying a lot. So, but anyway, let's move on to the Golden Gophers, okay? Because they have a new coach now. Patino is out, obviously. Ben Johnson, former assistant for the Minnesota Golden Gophers from 2013 to 2018, is now the head coach of the Golden Gophers men's basketball team. The announcement was, it's a 5-year term too. Wow, I guess I missed that part. But 5 years for him. He's only 40 years old. He's the 18th head coach in program history, graduated from the U of M as well and played for the Gophers. So here's what Coyle said about him. He said, Ben is a proven coach who is ready to lead his own program. Said Coyle, he has earned this opportunity and is a tremendous teacher, recruiter, relationship builder, and I'm thrilled to have him to lead this alma mater, his alma mater, I should say, and I am excited for the future of our men's basketball program. So, Mikey, what are your thoughts on the Gophers with making this move and hiring Ben Johnson?
Yeah, I think it was time to move on from Patino for sure.
Yeah.
The Ben Johnson hire, it makes sense. He wanted to come here. It's a good fit. But he's gonna have a test on his hands. Like for Minnesota basketball, we're in the Big Ten, arguably the best basketball conference in the NCAA, and you have to recruit against other Big Ten schools. And the problem kind of with Minnesota is we're always hell bent on trying to win with homegrown talent a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the key points I think he's going to try to do is and try to get the best players from Minnesota to commit to Minnesota, and you need to do that. And especially you can't let them go to any of like the power teams. Like you can't let them go to Duke. You can't let them go to, Michigan or any of the other teams. The problem he's also going to have to face too is Minnesota basketball hasn't had like a true identity. Like, are we a defensive team? Are we an offensive team? Are we do we focus on fundamentals, or are we Are we just like, do we just like to shoot the three all the time? We hadn't had that identity. I don't think I remember one. So I think that's probably going to be its starting off point, is trying to get an identity for this team to start off with, and then recruit and build around that.
So the big thing is, and you mentioned it already, Mikey, is that they never really had, with Pitino, and again, I have a lot of respect for Pitino, I will say. But the issue with Pitino is he could never get the guys from in-state, and it is so important nowadays to try and get some, not all, but at least some of that. Now, it's one of those things where I don't want them to focus too much in on this. We have to get all these, we have to make sure we get the guys in state and everything like that. We got to focus on that. But don't forget the guys out of state. There's some pretty good players that you can get from out of state, too. I'm just saying, and, people have said here, too, that he is a very good, and Papa Callahan, I assume, saying this, Ben Johnson needs to be a great recruiter. He has to keep the Minnesota high school talent in Minnesota.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. But and another thing that we should bring up, too, is you can't just assume that he's just going to focus in on that specifically. If they zone in on that too much, then
it becomes a detriment.
Yeah, it becomes a detriment. So, like you're saying. Now, Metz says, as well, he says, like the hire, would have preferred Porter and Moser from Loyola Chicago. And Loyola Chicago's been doing it pretty good in the tournament right now. And, that would be some. But I don't think Coyle wanted to wait. And that was the big thing with the Golden Gophers, is that he didn't want to wait too much. I feel like Brian Dutcher would have been a good hire, but after they lost in the first round, maybe you kind of think and say, well, I don't know about that. And then you had Musselman from Arkansas they're talking about too, which, there's Gopher connections there, but they made a decision to say we need to make sure we get the guys in state and bring them to the U of M. Now, you got Oturu, but, who else did you get after that? And that was the big thing with Pitino. So, if he is really good as a recruiter, then get the guys in state, and you're able to still get guys out of state, okay? So they cannot forget that. Now, also, what kind of offense are they going to instill? It's going to take a couple years, but if they start, if it's bottom of the barrel for the next, 3-4 seasons, then it's probably going to be a terrible hire. So, you got to prepare for the worst when you're talking about things like this. But one last thing before we move on to table topics, by the way. I can't wait for some table topics. But, Mikey, knowing what the Gophers have, there's a lot of good players. There's a lot of good players in Minnesota and obviously out of state. But if you get a guy like, let's just say, Tyus Jones or Suggs, guys like that, it's going to be hard to recruit them if you want to go to schools like Gonzaga or Duke or North Carolina. There's going to be more enticing options. How in the world are they going to recruit a guy of that caliber to come to Minnesota? What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough facing you. Not only do you have the good teams currently, but there have been good teams historically. So that allure kind of attracts recruits on its own. That's for their coaches, it's very easy to recruit for there, which Minnesota doesn't have that luxury. The one thing you can kind of rely on, especially for in-state talent that is of that nature, like a Tyus Jones, or a 5-star recruit, is that it'll be your hometown team. That's you can't, they don't have that. They will the other teams will never have that allure of you get to create the history of your hometown team here if you want to. Some guys like to do that. Some guys don't. And so it's going to be hit or miss. We might not always get the best recruit out of Minnesota, unfortunately, just because they're humans. They get to make choices on their own. A recruiter can only do so much. But I mean, that's what Ben Johnson has to do. He's got to get those guys as hard as it's going to be. That's going to be his testament, and it's going to be the rock he has to die on, is trying to get those top recruits here.
And it's not going to be an easy job, and it just won't, because this guy hasn't proven himself yet either. I mean, this is his first head coaching gig at a school like MinneZona, and then especially in the Big Ten Conference. I mean, the Big Ten Conference is one of the most competitive basketball conferences.
Exactly.
So, hopefully he's ready for it, and whatever Coyle sees in him, let's see what happens. But jury's still out. That's all I'm saying. I'm not, I don't know. I can't say if it's a good hire or a bad hire, because I haven't seen anything yet. So let's wait and see what happens. Hopefully, he can get the guys in state and make sure that he focuses sometimes on the guys out of state too, so he can have that in their back pocket. So, but anyway, we'll see what happens. Good luck to Ben Johnson. It's not an easy task, but that's, hey, you make your bed and you lay in it. So there you go.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens. All right, so Mikey, I think it is time to move on to table topics. The Zoners love this segment. I love this segment. You love this segment. Shield loves this segment. We've got some good ones tonight. We've really got some good ones tonight. So we'll be giving out our questions here, and then you guys give us your thoughts, what you guys think of what some of these questions that you'll be answering are. So let's get it going with some, we love to call it table topics. Let's go.
The tables have been set. It's time for MinneZona's Table Topics.
All right, it is time for Table Topics, Mikey. We've got 3 of them tonight, okay? They're very, it's going to be interesting because, Table Topics is one of those things where we let the Zoners give us their thoughts on, a lot of these, topics. So let's start it off with our first table topic. Our first table topic for tonight is, this one's interesting because a lot of people have mixed opinions on this. Has your opinion of Lance Armstrong changed? And again, we're talking about his, him cheating a lot, and not only that, in the sport of cycling, and obviously we get the Live Strong campaign and whatnot. So he's done a lot of cheating. Mikey, what are your thoughts? Has your opinion on him changed? What do you think?
Yeah, I certainly think my opinion of him as like a cyclist has changed for sure. Like, you take performance-enhancing drugs and you have to give away all your Tour de France jackets and everything. Yeah, people's opinions are going to change about you. Like, you can't just go ahead and cheat at a competitive sport like that. You get penalized for a reason. It's an unfair advantage. And so, yes, my opinion has changed of him that, but has my opinion changed of him for like the Live Strong campaign and kind of like fighting against cancer and like bringing awareness to it? No, like he's still the same guy for that, and he's still doing great work for the cancer awareness and everything like that. But yeah, it's kind of like two sides of the same coin. That's at some point, like you can congratulate him for doing one thing and then berate him for doing the other. It's that's kind of my opinion.
It's one of those things where he knows what he did and he wanted to get the biggest edge that he could. It doesn't matter. Didn't matter how he got there. If he had to use the performance enhancing drugs and whatnot. But, I mean, it's flat out cheating. And not only that, is the guy's kind of a D-bag, too, for one. Just throwing that out there. But he's... this I got to bring up because my thoughts on a lot of this, too. Let's see. The two big cheaters, Lance Armstrong and the 2009 New Orleans Aints. College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. Wow, they cheat on something? I don't remember, but I don't think that's right. But anyway, but I think that might have been a typo or something. But the two big, Lance Armstrong, the Aints, for sure. Yeah. We all agree on that one. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, Zoners. Is that we don't give a damn what happened, in 2009, but they cheated. They cheated. We all know it. We're not going to get into it. But for the Zoners that are tuning in, I see some more Zoners tuning in. Has your opinion of Lance Armstrong changed? Give us your thoughts, please, in the comment section. We'll get you on here as well. But I guess to answer the question, I agree. I definitely agree with you on that sentiment. The Live Strong, like he did good on that, but it's almost built on lies, too.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we all have to, understand is that, it could be, they must have, I knew it was a typo. That's just, that's what I thought. But anyway, I know it was kind of built on lies. And, people have kind of just wrote him off. I mean, to be completely honest with you, people have completely wrote him off. My opinion changed after. I mean, I used to want to get those Live Strong things because everybody had them at the time. Everybody had them at the time, and I couldn't find any of them. For one, I got one later on, but then I threw it away after that whole deal with him. So, but anyway, it changed at the moment, but I'll have to watch that documentary because I haven't gotten the chance to watch it on 30 for 30. But, it's changed completely. But, it's built on lies. So, all right. So, obviously, with these table topics, there's a little bit of facts as well. So, here we go. Metz has got a good one here. He still helped Peter LaFleur beat the Global Gym Cobras.
God.
Oh, Metz. That was good, Metz. I got to give you that one. That was great. So anyway, we got a fact here for this table topic. Lance Armstrong's resting heart rate is 32 beats per minute. Okay, the average adult's resting heart rate is between 60 and 80 beats per minute. Very interesting. That's an interesting tidbit here, folks. So, I don't know why it's all of a sudden we're talking about Lance Armstrong. I don't know, but I thought this was interesting. So, we got that.
They're always interesting.
All right, this one, Mikey, this one kind of pertains to you a little bit because you've experienced this before. But should athletes, and I'm asking the Zoners as well, should athletes stop playing their sport after one head injury? Mikey?
Ooh. This is tough. I'm kind of gonna go with like a yes with an asterisk, or I should say a no with an asterisk. Let's say. I would say the general cutoff for me is probably 3 like diagnosed concussions, no matter the severity of them. Just because like I would almost say 2 at some point, like because 1 you can kind of generally bounce back from and not have like any adverse effects, but after 2, like especially if it's like a hard hit, it can kind of like it might not wear on you right away, but it'll come back to bite you later in life. I mean, we've seen it all over the place, unfortunately, with all of the CTE victims that have started popping up on all of it. And CTE, it doesn't discriminate. It'll go after the backups, and it'll go after the Hall of Famers. Like you can't you can't escape it. Your mind. It takes a toll on your mind. Like your brain was not meant to hit the sides of your wall. The side of your cranium. But yeah, I would say no with an asterisk. I would have to say yes if it's like a very severe concussion. Like if you if you are blacked out and you have persisting headaches for probably like 2+ weeks afterwards, and you're still not getting better, it's probably time to hang it up. Unfortunately, and it's hard for guys to hang it up after a concussion because like you probably did nothing wrong, and it's not like you physically feel wrong. It's like it's just your brain is telling you something, and it's telling you I can't physically function anymore because of the trauma that's going on. And you have to take care of that, because once the game is done, you can replace knees, you can replace joints and elbows. You can't replace your brain.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And you've experienced this before. I mean, when I played too, I mean, I don't even like I could have had one that I just didn't even know about, I mean, it's there, and we didn't know enough about it then until, later on here. But I actually did a speech on this specific topic on concussions and everything like that. And the amount of former players that have had issues with this, Junior Seau, a lot of guys back in the day that just didn't know much about it. You got the big hits and whatnot. But the instance of the NFL possibly trying to cover up is something that is very concerning, because you have guys that have this for life. Like you put so perfectly, is that there are a lot of these players that are losing their lives, and there's behavioral changes later on, and there's so many. It's sad. It really is sad, and there's a lot of players that have had a lot of concussions, and it's not fun. It's not fun. And, the NFL has done a great job now of trying to make it a little bit more safer. But at the same time, you kind of, in the back of your mind, you're like, are they really trying, though?
Yeah.
I mean, that's also, it's kind of sketchy when it comes to things like that. But I would say the same thing you would. I think, no, with an asterisk towards it, because you never know. You really never know. So there's that. Papa Callahan has had a concussion, but he can still play golf. Hey, golf's not a bad sport. We all know that. So it's a good time. So, but yeah, I think you got to look at that. Should athletes stop playing their sport after one head injury? I know, with an asterisk, and if it continuously, just ask Wes Welker. I mean, the guy's had like 7. Gronkowski's had a bunch too, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they get the right treatment that they deserve, and for former players for that as well. So, hopefully that's getting done. But anyway, moving on to our not our next one, but our fact here. Athletes with the history of even one concussion, we've already talked about this, show less activity in portions of the brain associated with attention later in life.
Yep.
So that kind of that shows, like, hey, it's very serious.
Yeah. It's not to be messed with, and it's even if it's like even if you don't have to have a diagnosed concussions. A lot of the CTE research that's going on right now isn't even like they're worried about the concussions, yes, but they're almost worried about like the subconcussive hits, the ones that do jostle your brain but actually don't physically hit the side of your wall, the side of your cranium, that actually causes the concussion. And those subconcussive hits, like you might feel just like a tiny bit woozy, but after about a second you're fine. But those, for NFL players, especially for offensive and defensive linemen who are constantly ramming into each other, like blocking, and your head gets in the way sometimes. Yes, you're taught to use your hands, but your head's right next to your body too, where they're trying to punch.
Yeah.
And all those subconcussive hits, they add up over time. I think there was a study out there that said the average NFL player over the course of a season will probably get around like 200 subconcussive hits, and that's probably a low estimate. I would say that's probably a low one.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff, and now it's good because players are aware of it and they can make informed decisions on it. But beforehand, when the NFL, they were covering it up. Before that, players thought, oh, you just could get a concussion, you rest it off for a week, 2, maybe a month, and then you're fine. Like there was nothing out there that said, hey, this might have adverse effects later in life.
Yeah, and hopefully they find enough to have it be a little bit more safer, because it's still happening. It's just I think they've done a lot to prevent it now, but at the same time, it's still happening. So
yeah,
we gotta make note of it, obviously. Mm-hmm. All right, our last table topic before we move on to absurd or approved, but this one I feel like we have to make a top 3, and this is kind of based on what your favorite sport is and whatnot. But which sport, Mikey and Zoners, makes you the most nervous to watch? I feel like there's a lot you can do with this one. So, Mikey, why don't you just give me your top 3?
Let's go top 3. Probably the at third place would probably have to be hockey. Hockey can get very intense, especially towards like if you're going down to the last minute and you have like a pulled goalie. It's like a 1-score game and it's 6-on-5. Those moments, like especially if you're rooting, if it's like the Wild or anything like that, you kind of tense up a little bit. That's probably like it gets intense. Not as intense as the other two, but it does get intense. And then I would say probably number 2 would probably be it's basketball, but only. For me, it's only during the NCAA tournament, just because it's a 1-game series. There's so much on the line during a 40-minute game, and like we all know, the last 2 minutes of an NCAA tournament game, March Madness, it lasts for 20 minutes at this point. So the nerves slowly build up as each team gets called a timeout. And number 1's got to be football. It's got to be football. I mean, there's been so many moments for football that have come down to the wire. You got the Minneapolis Miracle. You got the Brett Favre to Greg Jennings. This is just
Greg
Vikings
Lewis,
history. Yeah, Greg Lewis. Yes, thank you. I meant Greg Lewis, not Greg Jennings. But there's so many moments like this in football they've all got names to them, and there's a reason for that. It's because they are memorable moments that come in very tense situations, and fans tend to remember those, especially on the winning side.
Yeah, and it's you can go so many ways with the baseball, extra innings, OT and hockey, all that. I mean, NBA finals can get pretty intense too. I mean, it's that's definitely where you see probably the most effort that you do better than in the regular season, but. Yeah, I guess for my top 3, and the Zoners, feel free to chime in too. I'd probably say for number 3, probably basketball, just because, like you said, March Madness, and then that high school basketball too. That can get intense as well.
Oh yeah,
intense as in close game, and it gets you get nervous watching your favorite team and things like that. But my number 2 is probably hockey, because. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You could go so many ways with it, and all of a sudden the puck bounces in, even though the team's completely outplayed the other team, right? So there's that as well. But obviously, number 1 is football. The reason why is because there's no. I feel like, in my opinion, and people can have their own on this. Is that there's like nothing better than a close game in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to happen. Now, depending on who's behind center is kind of a telling sign too. But at the same time, defensively as well, you never know. I mean, all it takes is one bad play. It could take one bad play to have an interception, a fumble, things like that. So, it's got to be football. It's the most exciting. A game-winning touchdown, a game-winning field goal. Things like that is what makes football so great. And honestly, I don't think you can beat that with football. And, you can't forget about some other sports. Golf, it's kind of on the low on the totem pole. But it depends if it's Masters, PGA, Championship, things like that. And just thinking of some, other. I mean, soccer too. I mean, that can get intense. I mean, a close 1-1 game, and then the shootout as well. It's kind of like the same thing with hockey. But I think that's got to be the top three. It's. I mean, baseball too. Extra innings. I think throwing that out there too. Almost forgot.
Yep.
But football, hockey, and then basketball for me. So I think that's probably the most logical in my opinion. So that's how I'll put it. All right, this is our final fact here. The fastest skiing speed record set by Simone Oregoni in April 2006, 156.2 miles per hour.
Holy.
That is a lot. That's a lot,
great.
man.
Oh my goodness.
That is a lot. That is fast. That is fast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Former intern guy says third NHL, second NFL, first NCAA. Go Bulldogs. And I assume that's Gonzaga. He likes the underdogs. Former intern guy loves it. But NFL, I think, beats NCAA. Yeah. Sorry, Trev. Actually, I'm not sorry because you're an intern. So that's just how it is. Anyway. That'll do it for table topics. That was fun, Mikey. I always enjoy doing table topics. Not only with you, but Shield as well. So we'll be doing this again in the near future as well. So, but we got to get to Air Raid. There's a lot to get to because there's one thing that I need to get off my chest, and that'll be coming up here. A current situation with a football player, but we got some NFL. So we also got some NCAA. Frozen Four ARA, and then obviously there's the fans being with the Twins as well. I mean, fans being there for the Twins now on opening day. So let's get it going with some absurd or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, Mikey, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you... I'm just kidding. Anyway, Voldy is not here with us today. Usually that's what I do. I have Voldy, rattle him off for us because he just does a great job with it. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is actually Voldy's story, by the way. He was preparing for the show, but then obviously, things... So he's got two stories for us. The first story that he has is the NFL is welcoming fans for the NFL draft this year. So, yes, claps all around. I like it. I think it's a good idea. I'll ask you the question in a second. I'm just going to give you some details and give the zoners details here, too. Mm-hmm. But it'll take place in Cleveland, of all places, from April 29th to May 1st. And we'll have a select number of prospects, fans, and media in attendance. Clubs will designate number of draft ambassadors, of course. Fans who get front row seats, they must be vaccinated and wear masks. So make sure you get vaccinated, folks. I think it's a good idea and whatnot, and as long as they follow the protocols and everything like that. So, we'll see what happens, but I'm feeling hopeful that it's going to, work out okay. So, Mikey, my question to you and to the zoners as well. Absurd or approved the NFL plans for April's NFL draft in Cleveland?
Yeah, I think it's approved, as long as they follow COVID guidelines, which it says they are. Everyone has to be vaccinated. Everyone, you have to wear masks at all times. You have to socially distance. I think it's perfectly fine. I'll just watch the draft from the comfort of my own home. I don't think I'm making a trip out to Cleveland anytime soon. But I think it's fine. There are some diehard fans that just love to go to the draft. Why not give them a chance if they comply with all the safety regulations?
It's got my stamp of approval too, Mikey. It makes sense. There's been a lot of negativity since 2020, obviously, and it's been over a year now since with COVID and whatnot, and we being locked in our apartments, homes, things like that. But it's nice because now that there's vaccinations, now that you can have protocol and be at a safe distance, and whatnot, it gives people hope. And,
Yeah.
it gives people hope. Obviously, with the current situation, it's tough to kind of, understand how this virus works. It is. But the things that have been working are pretty much wear a mask. Obviously vaccinations have been working, pretty well too. But at the same time, we all want to make sure that we can get out of this thing. And it's going to take longer than, some people think. But for the NFL draft, there's a lot of fun to be had with it. And, things are starting to kind of slowly open a little bit, which is nice. So it's got my stamp of approval. It makes sense. It makes sense, and obviously we can enjoy the comfort of our humble abodes and watch the NFL draft. Obviously, it was a great NFL draft for one, because the Vikings drafted Justin Jefferson, JJ. So hopefully this year it's either, for the Curve Doctor, a line. But then again, best player available. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yep.
Matt says poor Bills fans won't be able to bring tables. They won't. They won't, Matt. That's the sad thing about it. But you never know. It could be like a sanitized table that they could jump into. I don't know. With masks on, whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to be funny. But, obviously it doesn't work. But we'll see. All right, moving on to our next one here. This one involves the Patriots. Surprise, surprise. Voldy left us a Patriots one. Owner Robert Kraft, he says that the Patriots are in business to win. They spent money. You see, the Patriots did something the Twins lack. They actually spend money to get players that, fit their needs and things like that. So, they spend money. Robert Kraft was talking about, some of his comments, he was saying, I like investing in the stock market. You take advantage of corrections and inefficiencies in the market when you can, and that's what we did here. We'll see. Nothing is guaranteed. I'm very cognizant of that, but we're not in the business to be in business. We're in this business to win. That's a respectable comments from Robert Kraft. I mean, they signed Matthew Judon. They signed Jonnu Smith. They signed Hunter Henry. So they're trying to say to Brady, hey, look, we can readjust here too. We can readjust here too. So my question to you, Mikey, is absurd or approved Robert Kraft's comments on the Patriots free agency spending?
It's approved, as a Minnesota Twins fan, it's you never get to see something like this.
Yeah, never.
As we just said. No, but I approve it. Like he said, you have to spend money to win at some points. The Patriots needed to spend money. They had a down year last year. And we expected them to have a down year. They didn't have Brady anymore. And it was just Belichick there with Cam Newton, who was coming off an injury, and he was kind of unproven. I thought he did okay, but they were up against the Bills, and it was a tough AFC East for them this year, especially with the Dolphins too, an up and coming team. No, but I approve it. I don't know if I necessarily approve some of their hires, because I thought the Jonnu Smith and the Hunter Henry, having them both, I thought it was a little odd, but maybe they want to bring it back to when they drafted Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez when they had the two tight end system. Maybe they were trying to bring it back to that and see if they can work some magic there. And see, but no, I approve the whole situation. We'll see. Hopefully it works out for them. I know a lot of Patriots, a lot of anti-Patriots fans don't want it to, but it's always good to have a competitive team.
Yeah. Mets brings up a good point here, and actually leads to my point. The Patriots also had the most opt-outs due to COVID-19. Now, it's got my stamp of approval. I think, he puts it out plainly. I mean, in order for them to be successful again, they need to shift their focus to adding more weapons for Cam Newton. Now, Cam Newton didn't have a great year, but I think this is the last opportunity for Cam Newton to prove himself. You have weapons now. They're not weapons that you're like, oh my gosh, look at this. I mean, Johnny Smith's a very good tight end. Hunter Henry's a very good tight end. Nelson Aguilar's a good wide receiver. I mean, on the defensive end, they did a great job at signing Matthew Judon, a good pass rusher, good linebacker. But it's one of those things where you got to prove it now. They went out on a limb to spend money in order to add what they had a lot of opt-outs, like Matt said too. But this team now is different. You don't have Tom Brady anymore. We all knew that. But they're trying to say, look, we can try and work something here. We believe in Cam's abilities, well, somewhat. And hopefully Edelman comes back and he'll be healthy as well. But the two tight end system, like you were mentioning, Mikey, I think it can work. I think McDaniels can find a way to make it work. Mm-hmm. But let's see what happens when Cam has weapons. And if Cam can be successful, really great. But if he can't, they got to move on. And is it the end of Cam Newton? I don't know. So that's something that you got to put into perspective. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, his comments, it's got my stamp of approval, I'd say. So going off of that, it just kind of is what it is. So, yeah. Moving on to our not our last, but our third one here. A fall from grace. And this one concerns Deshaun Watson. Let's just say that Deshaun Watson is definitely somebody who has been hasn't been very smart. And obviously, it's kind of disgusting in a way with Deshaun Watson. The 14th member, or not member, the 14th person alleging sexual assault and inappropriate conduct from Deshaun Watson. This 14th person said that he is a serial predator. Okay? There's been 14 women that have said that he has engaged in, this sexual, forcing women to, massage his private areas and things like that. And, we haven't heard from Deshaun Watson at all. Remember, this is the same Deshaun Watson that wants a trade from the Texans right now. This is the same Deshaun Watson that that has all this talent and whatnot. But now, I think we're seeing the true Deshaun Watson. So, Mikey, what I ask to you is it absurd or approved? And obviously, I think most people are going to say absurd. Absurd or approved Watson being silent throughout this situation?
It's from a legal standpoint. His lawyer is probably approving it of him staying silent because the lawyer gets to do his legal business, and it makes it a little easier. But to the NFL fans and to his fan base, and especially to himself, like his stock is just going down. It's absurd. You gotta come out and address this at some point. Otherwise, you become like. You don't like you become undesirable. Like there's no way you're gonna get off of the Houston Texans if this keeps going on and you keep staying silent. You could stay silent after maybe the third one because you could realistically there could be 3 people that come together and be like let's try to extort him during when he's having a rough time. But when you have 14 people come out about this, it raises plenty of red flags, and there's something going on behind here that they're not letting us know. It looks extremely shady. So yeah, it's 100% absurd.
I've had a lot of time to think about this because the fact that there has been now the number has upped to 20-some women now, and that tells me that he is very guilty in this. And the fact of the matter, and I know I say this a lot, but it's true. The fact of the matter with Deshaun Watson is that what the hell are you doing? What is he doing? Now, getting a massage and then telling this, telling this person or these women to go, into the private areas and stuff. I mean, that's completely inappropriate. He's using his, his stardom and everything like that to persuade these women to do this. Now, what's even more kind of disgusting, too, is he has a girlfriend, I believe. I don't know. And Watson has had a very tough time with getting traded after he signed in the contract. And I understand the Texans organization is a mess. I get that, okay? I wasn't disputing that. But my opinion on Deshaun Watson has changed. When you have multiple women coming forward and saying, and I have a hard time believing they're trying to, ruin this guy's career. They're having a coalition saying, we got to ruin this guy's career and say this stuff. If there's 20 plus women doing this, I don't think this is, I think, the women that are coming out and saying this stuff, it makes him look absolutely 100% guilty. It's absurd beyond belief that he's being silent about this. And I believe in the article from a day ago, he said, I have never treated any woman with anything other than the utmost respect, in a statement he posted on Twitter on March 16th. Well, Deshaun, why are so many women coming out then still? Care to address it? And I understand from, Mikey, like you said, I didn't understand from a legal perspective. He can't say much and everything like that. But if he was truly, if he was truly innocent, he would have actually said, screw what you guys want to do. I know I didn't do this. So I'm going to express my opinion and it's, belay that. But the fact that he hasn't go more in on this and say, listen, I have treated women with utmost respect, but there's more women coming out, Deshaun.
Yeah.
There's more women coming out, okay? And you clearly are looking absolutely guilty right now. And the fact that you're putting, yourself in this position when you want to get traded from this team, hey, now they're like, well, we have control on this situation. And NFL's getting involved and everything like that. So Deshaun Watson, I'm going to say this right now. You're going to be on the top 10 and famous list next time we do it. That's for sure. It's absurd, and my opinion's changed on Deshaun Watson, so there's that. But enough of my rant on this. Zoners, give us your thoughts, too. I mean, what do you guys think of this Deshaun Watson situation? I think it's absurd. He hasn't come out and just said, listen, I didn't do any of this stuff, and, I can't say much right now, but we're working ahead on this. But he hasn't said a damn thing. He hasn't said a damn thing but that Twitter post. So, Deshaun Watson, things are not looking good for you, my man. So, moving on to our next one, a little bit more lighthearted. Obviously, this is something that's, that had to be addressed, I felt like. But the Golden Gophers are playing in the NCAA, Golden Gopher hockey team's playing in the NCAA tournament in hockey. The Frozen Four, baby, we love it. They are the number 3 seed, Mikey, in the tourney, and obviously not like the Minnesota tourney, but in the college tourney. You got it. So they play the 27th. They play Omaha, and there's a team that Voldy knows very well. I believe it's the University of North Dakota. Jimbo knows us very well as well. So the thing I wanted to bring up, and actually this was my story that I brought up here for tonight. Mikey, I got to ask you, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Absurd or approved, the Gophers being the 3 seed in the tournament?
I can see it both ways. I'm gonna go with a little bit absurd. I thought I expected them to be top 3, but I was thinking more like number 2, number 1 maybe. So it's a little absurd. I mean, like it's like teeter-tottering, it's kind of like right in the middle. I could go either way depending on the day. I think they're being a little slept on, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for them being a little slept on. They could take it they could put a chip on their shoulder. They could ride it throughout the tourney, and hopefully they'll do something well. But yeah, I'll put 51% absurd on it.
Okay. Now, Jack O'Keefe, obviously Jack's Junkyard. Shield be looking strange since he arrived at fatherhood. Yeah, Shield's out today, Jack. He's out tonight. He's got to work actually, and I'm not lying this time. He's actually has work duties that he's doing. But yeah, no Shield tonight. But that's pretty good one. Matt says no way, no how the Gophers make it to the frozen floor.
Oh, Matt's.
Ooh. This is controversial. This is going to get controversial, I think. Them being the 3 seed, I don't think the seeding really bothers me as much because a lot can happen, especially in hockey.
Yeah.
You could be like Omaha let's just say Omaha right now. You could beat one of those top teams. I mean, you could beat UND out of the blue. I mean, they're not going to lose to American International. I can tell you that much. But the Gophers, difference. Oh, I know why. Metz is saying this is because who also is in that bracket? Minnesota State Mankato.
Oh.
And Metz is a big fan of Minnesota State Mankato, even though he went to Southwest Minnesota State University. So that is something that's a little.
That's a little fishy there.
Yeah, that's a little fishy, but. I guess it's got my stamp of approval. I don't see a big issue with it, them being the 3 seed. I don't think it is a knock. I just think, that's where they're placed. Boston College, they have that, the guy that's supposed to be playing for the Wild here soon, Boldy. The guy's been fantastic this season, nonetheless. But, I could have seen them in the 2 seed. I really do think so. But I think if you look at this Gopher team, there's a lot of different areas in which how this could turn about for the Gophers is because, it's a new coach, it's a new team. But, hey, they started off hot. They really started off hot.
They really did.
Now, we'll see what happens coming up here. But luckily, we'll see if they can keep it going here and beat Omaha. You can't lose to Omaha. You just can't lose to Omaha.
You can't.
All right. Anyway, let's take a look here. Thanks for the charity laugh at my horrible joke there, Mikey. Hey, this is what we do here on MinneZona Sports Live. We just make jokes and things like that. I mean, it's nothing personal. We just like having fun here. Obviously, Jack, we're all joking around here. I don't agree with Mets. Granted, I only follow Midwest teams because of you guys. Exactly. You got to love that. But based on what I see in the stat sheets, they look like they could definitely be tough to stop. Yeah, I'd say so too. I agree with you, Jack, 100%. Matt says, my Mavs will take care of business if and when we face each other. I don't see a ranking. I don't see a seed on there, by the way. I don't. It's hard for me to see on this. No. Actually, I can see it clear as day. They don't have the seeding there. I think the Gophers are going to take care of business against the Mavericks. So there's that. But yeah, I think it's fine with the seeding. Let's see what happens. It's going to be fun. Yep. I really, hopefully I have some time to watch it. So it'll be good, and UND for Voldy. I hope that it's the Gophers versus the Fighting Hawks, but we the Sioux and whatnot. That'd be pretty sweet. I think Voldy would love it. I mean, the whole Voldy's whole family. It would be like UND versus everybody on MinneZona Sports Live. So that's kind of how it would be. But anyway, I think that's fun. It's fun to throw that out there. Underrated story though. All 5 D1 teams from Minnesota made the tournament for the first time.
Yeah.
No, that's something to be proud of. State of hockey, baby. That's all I gotta say. So, but anyway, Mikey, let's round things off here with our final story. We didn't really talk much about this, but I think this needs to be addressed because now the Minnesota Twins can have fans at Target Field. You love it. It's great. The Zoners love it as well. Baseball is going to be coming back here soon, and actually the weather's looking really nice this upcoming week into next week. So, Governor Walz gave the go-ahead for the Twins, and obviously a little bit of the Wild, too. I think 1,000 or 2,000 fans could be in attendance here coming up soon. So, you can purchase tickets as well on tomorrow, I should say. So, the Twins will have 10,000 fans in the stadium. The start of the season, fans will sit 2 or 4 seat pods. Makes sense. And each pod will have 6 feet of space in any direction. So obviously, season ticket holders get get dibs on it as well. So, yeah. So Mikey, let me ask you this: absurd or approved? The state of Minnesota giving the go ahead to the Twins and other teams with the Timberwolves and the Wild as well. Absurd or approved them letting 10,000 fans in the stands. What do you think?
I approve it. I approve it right now. I think it's a great thing. It seems like they're doing it really well. My dad's really excited. He's actually a partial season ticket holder. It'll be interesting to see because I know there's a lot of logistic things going on, especially with concessions. That'll be interesting to see if they do concessions at all. But I think it's great. Baseball, everyone's out in the open. If you have 6 feet all around you, like they're doing, and like you said, in 2 to 4 person pods, I think why not let them have it and see, because like Minnesota, we're starting to slowly decline now in terms of COVID stuff, especially because we're ramping up vaccination rates as much as we can. And so I think I approve it 100%. Just I'm a little tentative again with the concessions, but that's a wait and see. There are smart people working on it.
Well, apparently Mets got his tickets in April.
Okay,
we're happy for you. But yeah, I think it's great that that fans can be in this. I think Governor Walz, obviously, without getting too political here, he made the right decision in actually letting some fans into these games, because it is so much different for a lot of these players as well, not having fans in stadiums. It's just it's like a scrimmage. Mikey, we've played in a bunch of scrimmages at St. Thomas. I mean, it's different without fans. It's just kind of like, it's just practice. Technically it is. But it's a different atmosphere, and as long as they can do this safely, and that's the big thing. And I think the Twins organization will. I mean, in terms of spending money, that's a different story. But the fact that they can be able to have some fans in the stands here, and have that experience just shows we're getting close to finally kind of overcoming this. And I think Dr. Anthony Fauci was even saying, I believe that we will have the virus ready, we'll be back to some normalcy in the fall, late summer or something like that, as he was saying. But we'll see what happens. A lot can happen. Obviously, like you said, cases are kind of slowly, but it's kind of like it'll hit the hundreds, then it'll hit thousands a little bit, then it'll hit it's all different. But with vaccinations and everything, hopefully that'll keep going down. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. It makes sense. I mean, having fans in the stands, there's nothing better than that and as well. And I think, hopefully we get to some, one of the small steps in normalcy is the big thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, hey, let's go. Let's watch the Twins. Obviously, Timberwolves will have fans, but that won't change anything because it's the Timberwolves. But that's just me. Being honest.
We'll see if they get like 5 people.
People still want. Okay, I will say people still want to see Anthony Edwards play. I think that's something that people are intrigued to see, for one, and maybe a little bit of D'Angelo Russell, and maybe hopefully D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns will be on the same court and actually playing with each other instead of one's out, one's in, one's out, one's in. It's crazy. But anyway, usually, Mikey, we end things off with Shield shoutouts. We are saving Shield shoutouts for next time Voldy comes back on. Mikey, when we ended the show last time you filled in, you had a top 10 in famous list. Mm-hmm. You have updated your top 10 in famous list now. So, obviously, we're just getting Mikey's tonight. We already did mine last week, I think it was. So, Mikey, it's time to get going with some top 10 in famous lists for you. Let's get it.
Here's the list no one wants to be on. Infamous Top 10.
And I might add, Mikey, Zoner's got to give us some infamous. You've been kind of the loyal one and actually been putting together a list. I think Zoners need to keep doing this because it's fun to see what other people have on their infamous list. So, hey, we encourage you to make an infamous list. Send it to me. I'll put it on a graphic. Yeah. It's great. So, but anyway, Mikey, go ahead and rattle them off, please.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start from bottom to top. We got number 10 is A-Rod. Matt talked about this a lot last week. I don't have much Taterade on it, but, cheater's gonna cheat. It's A-Rod. It could be either A-Rod if you want to. If you could be Aaron Rodgers or Alex Rodriguez. If you...
yeah, it's true.
But it is Alex Rodriguez. We just know. And then number 9, and this is low this time, is the New York Jets. The Jets are still in a weird spot. They have a new head coach, and I do like Salah. I think he's a good step in the direction for the organization, but they still need to figure out what they're going to do with Darnold.
True.
And they're still a dysfunctional organization. I mean, one head coach change does not change that. So they're number 9 now, but they can jump up or down depending on what they do. Number 8, you got Clown Antonio Brown, or Antonio Brown is what I like. He's been quiet. That's why he's down. I usually have him kind of in the top 5. But he's still just insane. No other way to put it. So he's at number 8. And number 7, I have a former teammate of his, Juju Smith-Schuster, for a couple of reasons. For one, he can't keep his mouth shut on TikTok. He has to keep, instigating the other team. And it happened. Yeah, most famously during the Cleveland Browns, he went on TikTok or Twitter or something. I'm not 100% sure, but he told them that it's going to be a cakewalk, and guess what? It was a cakewalk in the reverse action. Like it was that I turned off the game after 5 minutes because it was 21-0.
Yeah.
So Juju, nice job. We got then number 6. I apologize for looking at my phone.
No, you're
I have
good.
the list on my phone as well. So number 6, we got Sean Payton. I think we've beaten this one to a dead horse before. It's the 2009 and the Aints, and Sean Payton never came out about this. You could put Greg Williams in the same case too. They never came out and officially apologized for it, and I will forever hold a grudge against them. I took Drew Brees off the list because he's retired, and I'll give him his time away. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. I loved his play. Didn't really. We'll see how he is off the field. But yeah, number 6 we got Sean Payton. Number 5, because I still have a grudge against this guy, and he is just the worst head coach I've ever seen in my life. Adam Gase. He is the number 1 reason why the New York Jets are so awful. He had one job last year, and that was to tank for Trevor Lawrence, and he didn't even do that job right.
Well, there's that. There's that.
He couldn't even tank correctly. How can you not even tank correctly? But he's out of the league now. I don't know if he has a coordinator position or if he's like a position coach somewhere. But hopefully he will never have a head coaching job again because God. That was bad. And then number 4, he's a staple on here on pretty much every one of our lists is Johnny Manziel. I believe he's in a different league at this point, right? He's in
he's in that weird. Yeah, so he's in that weird fan-controlled league. Him and Josh Gordon are on the same team, but he's been trash. I mean, he hasn't been good.
It's just ridiculous, and he still thinks he's like the hot. He still thinks he's the hot stuff, it's very much absurd.
Right.
So he's number 4, 100%. Number 3, it's a new addition, and it'll probably be it'll be an addition for this list only, is Big Ten basketball. If anyone paid any attention to March Madness last weekend, they were atrocious. We had 8 teams, I believe, in the NCAA tournament. Only one has passed into the Sweet 16, and that was Michigan. And a lot of people predict Michigan won't even make it past the Sweet 16 because they have one of their best players out. And so it is not a good showing for Big Ten basketball. I hope Michigan goes all the way because I do have them winning in my bracket.
Yeah.
maybe a bad choice on my part. But I just forgot that the main guy was injured. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully they take it far. But yeah, Big Ten basketball not looking too good. So they are number 3. Number 2, we have, of course, infamous Jameis. The whole reason the list has been made. He's got his shot this year. He's got his shot to become not infamous and hopefully just famous. But we'll see. I mean,
That's to be determined.
Yeah, it's to be determined. The last time he played, he was 30 for 30, and not the good kind of 30 for 30.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the number 1, and it will be my number 1 until the entire division is better, the NFC East. Because goodness gracious, this division is awful.
You've said it.
I said it. The last time I was on this show, it was like atrocious, and I was rooting for the Redskins.
The Washington football team now. Yeah.
Yes, Washington football team. Thank you. I need to keep correcting myself. I was rooting for the football team. They almost beat the Buccaneers in that playoff game. Yeah. It would have been crazy with the former Vikings quarterback Taylor Heineke. But the football team, it came out after the year that they were trying to hold back Alex Smith. That did not look good at all. Their organization is dysfunctional with Dan Snyder there. You got the Eagles. I think that's all I have to say at this point. You got the Cowboys, which we all understand Cowboys fans. They're almost as bad as Packer fans.
And almost as fans. Bad.
Yeah, they're bad. And they'll be, they got Dak back, but they'll be 7-9 this year. And then you got the Giants. The Giants are actually the iffy team. They've done a lot in free agency.
They have.
They still got Daniel Jones. So there's that.
Well, if he makes a big leap,
Yeah, unless he makes a big leap. But, the last couple of years, that has not impressed me. And I don't think he's going to make that next generational leap. I mean, he's got to make not only a big step, but a couple big steps if he wants to be able to lead that team into the playoff, into the promised land. So
yeah, that's true.
Yep. So that is it. I would put an asterisk for Deshaun Watson. He could be on this list at some point, like Matt said. For me, especially if all these allegations are true, which I mean they're looking more and more true each passing day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's my top 10.
All right. Well, I like your top 10. I'll give the zoners another chance to look at it here. I'll post it tomorrow for other zoners to see as well. So that is Mikey's list. But we actually technically have a Shield shout-out in a way. We got to make sure I get this on for Jack because he wanted to throw this on here. So we try to appeal to the zoners. I got a Shield shout-out for you. Shout-out to the British racing car driver Emily Linscott Racing, who is making her American Formula 4 debut. This is a huge open for wheel racing and for women in motorsports. Her coach is the world-famous Pippa Mann, and both are making huge tracks. See what I did there for women in sports? We love it. Hey, it's stamp of approval. Approval. The next one here, another Shield shout-out and my seamless plug. My apparel company launched this week and is doing well so far. Well, shoot, maybe we got to get something here with Jack as well. So, hey, we got to check it out. Mrs. Isabel O'Keefe wraps up filming on her newest stage film, The Hound of Baskervilles this week. Given COVID, this is huge for her career on stage and for the university. hey, good luck. Good luck, Mrs. Isabel O'Keefe, with that from MinneZona Sports Live. I'm related to Shield, sort of, so it still counts. Yeah, well, you know, whatever works, right? So, but anyway, he'll probably put that in for you for next week. But anyway, before we wrap things up, a couple things. We have stickers. We have a lot of stickers, and Mikey, I don't know if you've gotten any of these stickers yet. They're pretty sweet.
I haven't yet. I need to order some. They look really great.
Yeah,
I need to put some on my computer case.
Yeah, I'll send some to you. $3, $2, whatever you want. We'll take care of it for you. They're nice. They're great. I have, a bunch of them. And again, if you want some, they're very cheap. Very, very cheap. Not only that, but we have MinneZona shirts as well. They're only $20, $5 shipping. Talk to me. Talk to Voldy. Talk to Jimbo. Talk to any zoner, and we'll just get it set up for you, because why not? So there's sweatshirts, there's shirts, everything, the whole kit and caboodle. So make sure you guys check out and get shirts. But Mikey's wearing something right now, the MinneZona sweatshirt, and you say it is very comfortable, 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, yeah.
We need one more person to buy, so then Jimbo can buy the bulk and then send it off to the rest of our zoners.
Yeah, let's get it happening, dude. I wore this sweatshirt the entire time. I look very comfortable right now. And I'm telling you, it's I would give it 11 out of 10.
11 out of 10. See, the 11 out of 10. There you go.
It is one of the most comfortable sweatshirts I own.
Yeah, $40, $5 shipping, and it's great. Jack actually has one as well. So if you guys want a sweat, we need one more person. One more person to buy, then Jimbo can buy it in bulk and we can send it off. So zoners, if you know anyone that wants a sweatshirt, we'll get it to you. And the thing is, yes, we know spring's coming up and whatnot. It's going to get a little bit warmer out. But hey, you'll be ready for next winter. Next fall, I should say. Next fall. So, hey, might as well, right? After that, though, big shout out, obviously, to National Fleet Graphics for these as well. And then also Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson getting us set up with some other stickers as well. So we got these puppies too. And then also make sure you check out W2 Performance, the Barbell Nerds podcast. Will Rattel, Mikey, you know Will Rattel, right? You played football with Will Rattel. So he has his podcast. He's doing this launch 1.0, and people are loving it so far. So make sure you check out Will's stuff and whatnot. He does a great job. We got to have him on here. Maybe have him on when you're on here too, Mike.
Yeah, we got to get the STA crew.
Yeah, might as well. Let's get the STA crew going. Exactly. So we'll get that figured out and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But W2, and then also last, Jack's Junkyard. Make sure you check out Jack's Junkyard. Season 2 is still going on. He's got an apparel, coming out now too. Check it out, Jack's Junkyard. It's awesome. And then he's got another thing. He goes, I'm in. I'll get one for the wifey. She keeps stealing mine. All right, there Jack. We go. You talk to Jimbo. You Venmo. Do whatever you need to do. We'll get you that sweatshirt, and then everything will be good to go. So talk to Jimbo. He'll get you set up. So anyway, Mikey, thank you again for filling in for the Shield tonight, and for the zoners that have been chiming in here. It's been great. Thanks, fellas, Jack says. And thank you, Jack, for chiming in as well. So, yeah, Mikey, we'll have you on again. The draft's coming up, so we're going to have you on again. So
the draft's coming up. It's coming up quick, man.
Yeah, any more breaking news, we'll have you on, and we'll get it going. So, I mean, that's how much fun it's going to be. So, but anyway, we'll see what happens. If Shield's back, we'll have a lot of fun with Shield again. And, I think we'll be back next week, I think. So, and we're going to have more fun. So, as always, remember, folks, keep in the zone.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.